All right, Jennifer, lots to talk about today. I want to start by talking about this Francois Legault idea where he's asking Ottawa to set up, quote, waiting zones for asylum seekers coming here, based on an idea, he says, that is already in use in plenty of European countries, including France. What do you make of this?
Yes, well, apparently the idea was tossed around earlier this summer by Christine Fréchette and Jean-François Robert, because yes, it is used in France, and the CAQ, they like to use the French as an example. And basically, what it would do is it would I mean, this is a breaking story, and we're learning about it, but what we can see now is it would keep the asylum seekers outside of Quebec. So I don't know how the French model uses the unitary system. I don't know where they keep them. But in the federalist system, what it would result for Quebec is that the asylum seekers would be held for a period of time outside of Quebec, and then would thus not become Quebec's problem, and then would thus not become a threat to the French language, and so on and so forth.
Okay, so what I saw today, and I don't know if this will apply because this is the first time we're really hearing of this, and I understand that that letter was sent out by Christine Fréchette earlier on. We heard, I think, both Justin Trudeau and Mark Miller the other day, last week, say all this attack by Francois Legault over immigration for the feds, and there was no plan. Is this the big plan that they say he'd never presented him with? Because it doesn't sound like much of a plan.
Well, it doesn't sound like much of a plan. It just sounds like shifting the problem. I mean, it doesn't make up for the lack of the plan. And I mean, I know that the CAQ went to town and suggested that the Prime Minister had behaved badly by bringing this up in front of Monsieur Macron. But honestly, Aaron, I was just looking at things today, and I'm thinking Francois Legault must be very happy to be in Paris. It must have been great to get out of Dodge, go to Paris, deal with la francophonie, and not have to deal with a lot of the other problems that are on his plate these days. So we'll see what the federal response is to this. But I don't think it's the replacement for the plan that was missing.
Fair enough. I will say more bad news, if you will, for Francois Legault. The new Palace poll out today, right? If elections were held today, PQ would win a majority government. So let's talk about this. Is really not all that new from what we've seen for the past couple of months. Nothing seems to have changed.
No, nothing has changed. Well, some significant things have changed. So one thing I want to say is that I don't believe polls until I see consistent things happening over and over. I believe this poll. I believe these polls about the PQ. And one of the things that's changed a little bit is just in terms, and this is where Francois Legault is probably really not having a good time with this, is it's in all regions of Quebec. It's not concentrated in any specific region, but they're leading them significantly. They're leading them over age groups. They're leading them over linguistic groups and demographic groups. So it's not some kind of a flash in the pan, and it's directly related to all of the things that have been happening. I mean, last week we talked about it. It was Tuesday. Could it get any more exciting than last week? Well, it did get more exciting than the week before. And while it's exciting for us to talk about it, I'm sure it's not exciting for Francois Legault and company to have to try to navigate this stuff, right? And the poll numbers are showing it. It was just about a year ago that the thing happened, the by-election loss in Jean Talon. And, Quebecers are a very politically sophisticated group. We have to be. And the voters in Jean Talon are particularly politically sophisticated. And nobody likes to be lied to. And it became quite clear that they were being lied to. And, they voted with their feet, and they went out and they returned a PQ candidate, which is not normal in Jean Talon, but that was the beginning of the end for that.
Okay.
So go.
Let me shift to what's happening federally today. As I kind of joked off the top of the show, if it's Tuesday, it must be another non-confidence vote. So yeah, we had this happen again in the House of Commons today with the same result we've had and will have, I'm sure, until at least October 29th, when the Bloc decides what it's going to do. What about all that?
Okay, so there's two things. So yes, there was a vote on a non-confidence motion that wasn't tabled today. The vote happened today, and that was the Conservative vote. So they have now 3 more opposition days until Christmas. Like, let's say the government stands that they can continue to conduct themselves in this way. And given the past 2 votes, I don't think that there's anything different, because there was not a great substantive difference in the 2 motions that the Conservatives passed. Mm-hmm. They're just going to continually say we don't have confidence in the government. It's not more complicated than that. The wording, right? The Bloc thing is a little bit more interesting. So whereas they could have tabled a non-confidence motion today, because it was their only occasion, because they have fewer days to be able to do this type of thing, to exercise this tool. What they did instead was that they pushed the government to try to support those 2 issues that they're threatening to topple the government by October 29th. So that's their day. So the bills are Bill C-319, which would raise the old age security payments by 10% for people from 65 to 74. Now, what they needed to do is they have to get royal recommendation for that because it's public spending, and the parliamentary budget officer has estimated that at $16 billion over 5 years. That's a lot of money. So we can unpack that. So that's going to vote tomorrow. And, I do want to talk to you about the supply management because it's very, very important for Quebec. But do you want to...
Yeah, well, so real quick, that's the other part of the Bloc's challenge, I guess, to the Liberals, right? They want that money for, old age, for the seniors' pensions or whatever, and they want supply management off the table, which is, again, pretty significant because, not just that, it's not only a Quebec issue, is it?
Oh, no, it's not. And, full disclosure, 15 years ago, I worked for one of the lobbies, the supply management lobbies. I worked for poultry for the chicken farmers, and it's a national issue. But in Quebec, where the biggest supply management lobby is dairy by far. And in Quebec, dairy is huge. Dairy is king. And in all regions of Quebec, they're as popular as pasta and Plamondon. And, you cannot try to get rid of supply management and ever expect to get elected in Quebec. So where this could play out is eventually when there is an election, this is a place where he can try to differentiate himself from the Conservatives out in the regions of Quebec on the ground, because the Conservatives are, they will come in probably second to or first, depending. So they will be able to paint the Poilievre Conservatives as an enemy of supply management, and that they are a champion of supply management, and that they've tried to get this through.
Which makes you wonder where they're going to get any support for any of this stuff. The Liberals are not going to cave. The Conservatives are the Conservatives. That's not going to change. So what's all this bluster from the Bloc? Where's it supposed to lead?
I don't know. It's probably for media and for people, to solidify certain support that they have in rural areas. And I'm not saying that they're trying to look good outside of Quebec, but the OAS situation that benefits all Canadians. So he could be trying to play that a little bit. He may have overplayed his hand a little bit, but because, the thing is too, I like to say one thing: campaign finance makes the world go round, and I don't see any party other than the Conservatives being ready to do an election anytime soon.
Yeah, which is probably why we don't get an election anytime soon. Mm-hmm. Jennifer, thanks so much. Appreciate it.